Hey, what up everybody? This is steviebreech coming to you here, sitting on my tailgate, relaxing a little bit. Today's my last day off before the big Wrestlemania trip. Today's Thursday. I'm counting down till Wednesday when I'm going to be taking off and doing all the things that we do on these big Wrestlemania trips. They're one of the funnest things that there are in the world. This morning, I kicked off this morning by going to the gym like I normally do, and from there I just had some little chores to do. I think I got just about everything done that I needed to get done today. It's just I got let me see, 4 more days of work after today, and then Wednesday I'll be leaving and going to the trip. And trust me, every day from here on out is going to be a countdown. I don't think I got any closers. I think I got like all sort of like mid shifts, 9 to 6, 8 to 5 sort of deals. So those days go by real fast. It's those closers that really tick by, and man, it takes forever for those days to do it. But I'm really excited to go on this trip. Everything's just about finalized. As long as I don't know, AAA Mexico or Lucha Underground doesn't announce a show in the next little bit, I think that we've got all of our plans all set up. I know that everybody's done a video pretty much, and I did a video about a week ago, but you know, I can't wait for this trip, man. It's going to be a ton of fun. Every day something gets added, and it's just crazy to think that this thing's going to be here before long. Wednesday, I'm going to leave my house around noon. It's a big change of plans because in the past few years, most of the time I have to wake up at 4 in the morning and head over to the airport, get checked in, get on like a 6 o'clock flight, and fly to the East Coast. And it it's a little stressful on that last night, because I sit there and I wonder about the things that I've packed in my luggage. So the first thing I'll do is I'll rip my luggage apart and make sure everything's in there, and just sort of counting how many pairs of underwear, how many pairs of socks, if I got my Ric Flair figure, things like that. Last year, I can't remember what happened, but something happened as I was doing one of these frantic unpacks, and I ended up taking out volume 2 of my encyclopedia and my sweatshirt that I was going to be wearing, and I ended up forgetting those and leaving them behind. But it ended up all being all right, and ended up I didn't need volume 2 in the encyclopedia at all. Everybody I met was either in the first one or they just weren't in the second one either, so it didn't really matter in the long run. But like I've said 1,000 times, this trip is going to be bananas. I'm getting to do just about everything that I want to do. I sort of wish that I'd be able to go to the Wrestlemania deal, but and I sort of wish that I'd be able to go to that NXT show. But it is what it is. We got plans. We got to stick with them. And I think that everything's going to work out in the long run. I've got enough people that are going to be covering all the shows, and I'll be able to watch their videos and be able to talk to them throughout the week and find out what I missed out on. But basically Wednesday, I'll be waking up whenever I wake up. I'll be driving down, leaving about noon. I'm going to go to the airport and pick up Ravi and Miguel. While I'm at the airport, I'm also going to be picking up Zach, and we'll be going and checking in at our hotel. From the hotel, we're going to be driving out to San Francisco, and we're going to be showing Ravi all that San Francisco has to offer. The Golden Gate Bridge, Pier 39, this, that, and the other, whatever pops up along the way. I don't see us coming home from San Francisco early. For bringing somebody to San Francisco and only having a limited amount of hours to be there. It's going to be, a little bit time consuming. I don't know if we want to go to the Full House or the park where the Full House thing was shot. Miguel had mentioned he wanted to go to Candlestick Park. Lots of stuff popping up along the way, and you want to make sure that you don't miss anything, and you don't want to leave anything like, oh damn, what if we could have done that somewhere along the way. So we'll be coming home from there on Wednesday. Thursday we'll wake up. I know I'm going to do first thing is I'm going to head down, check out that breakfast buffet at our hotel, and see if it's up to par. Last year's breakfast buffet at the Drury Inn was 10 stars. You got to make your own waffle. They had a whole cereal bar, sausage. They had the works, fresh fruit. They had drinks and everything that you could want there. Jewelry Inn, 10 stars. Anytime you're in any town, make sure you spend a few extra bucks, stay at the jewelry, because it's well worth it. That was a bargain last year, and it was a lifesaver, big time. Have everybody all in the same spot, heading down there. Thursday afternoon, we'll be going to the Access. Access is always big time fun. Going to be meeting Ric Flair, going to be meeting Roman Reigns, and whoever pops up along the way. Honestly, when it comes down to it, the New Day, Biggie Langston, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston is a group picture that I think is really high on my list. I also would love to meet Alicia Fox one more time. She'll probably be in the Total Diva stand if she's going to be anywhere out there. Roman and Lana would be another group shot to get all at once. I don't know if Lana's going to be there since she's been missing in action on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown with Rusev as of late. But even just to meet Rusev would be one hell of a picture as well. So I'm glad I'm going to Access. Thursday night is up in the air. Whatever happens, happens. Friday is going to be a day we head out to and we go to the Ring of Honor show. Ring of Honor is going to be running in Redwood City. It's in some sort of a soccer complex. When I was calling around when our ROH tickets were sold out, I was trying to see if I could be able to get tickets for my friends because it ended up being that I was the only person who ended up getting a ticket. And I know Mike wanted one, Miguel wanted one, and I was like, I don't really want to go to this show by myself, but I'm the only one who has a ticket to it. So I didn't know if I was going to have to eat it, or I didn't know if, what was going to happen somewhere along the way. But I had bought a $25 general admission ticket, and that ticket was before they ended up saying that it was standing room only instead of general admission. I don't know if that's what happened, but one thing or another, Ring of Honor upgraded my ticket to a third row seat, so I basically got a half price ticket somehow. Me and Miguel are in the same section, we're in the same row, we just happen to be 18 seats apart. Like I said, I paid half the price that it would normally cost to buy this ticket, so if I have to give somebody a beer or a hot dog or I don't know, whatever I have to do, I would love to do it just to sit next to my friend and make that night a little bit more memorable. Mike's going to be there. He's got a ticket in a different section in a different row, but if he, well, HBK Fan 25, as you guys might know him, but if it's possible that all three of us are going to be able to sit together, I would love to do that as well, whatever it takes to get that done. It'd be awesome to have us all there. Last year at Ring of Honor, when we were all in the same section for general admission, and we sort of just sat up in the bleachers, and some people were really into the show, some people were just waiting for the main events like me. It was a really, really fun ordeal. I loved that. That was one of the best moments from last year at Wrestlemania, the whole weekend. From there is going to be Saturday. Saturday is going to be a pretty packed day, as we're doing just a little bit of everything. I'm watching my neighbor across the street. Oh, I forgot. Friday we got WrestleCon as well. That still messes me up because, as we were on the East Coast, WrestleCon was normally a Saturday and Sunday deal. You went to it, before you went to WrestleMania. But because of the early start for WrestleMania, they're going to be doing a Friday event where you can go there. I don't really have the names finalized of who I'm going to be meeting, but it's going to be one hell of an ordeal. Lots of big names. Saturday morning we'll be going over to the WrestleCon event as well. With WrestleCon, you just sort of you pay one price to get into the door, and then a whole bunch of vendors and companies bring people there. There's also, a huge merch table from highspots.com. High Spots is going to be bringing Excalibur, and he's going to be selling a table of PWG DVDs. Lots of companies come there and sell their wares and make tons of money because fans come packed and ready for action to buy magazines, books, DVDs, T-shirts. Last year, one of the coolest stands was the 1 Hour Tease stand, where they had the wrestlers come in. They had Colt Cabana, they had Kevin Steen, Cliff Compton. They had Joey Ryan, Candace, and basically if you just bought a shirt, they would sign and take a picture with you all for $20, the price of a t-shirt. You can't beat that deal. And Miguel still makes fun of me because I went up to meet Kevin Steen at the ROH show, and I just wanted to be cool about the deal, and I could have met him for $20 at the ROH show, but if I just waited a day and met him at WrestleCon, I could basically get a t-shirt for free out of the whole deal. So that's what we did, and we knocked that out. From WrestleCon, we're going to be going to the Hall of Fame. Nothing really big and spectacular about the Hall of Fame this year. It is what it is, and it's going to be cool to see the Macho Man go in. Kevin Nash, I'm a big fan of. I think he's going to be closing the show, which means I'm going to be missing it. But none of the other names, really jump out at me. I was a fan of the Bushwhackers as a kid, but I sort of put them in the same category as the Demolition. Demolition, one of my favorite tag teams. I've seen these guys at WrestleCon and Wrestle Reunion shows the past few years. And with them being one of my favorite tag teams, would love to get a picture with them. But, they're really old, and the face paint just doesn't cover up how old they are. And I love them to death, but, to get a picture with me in 1990 Demolition, I would pay $100. But just $30 to get a picture with Demolition in 2015 doesn't really work. So the Bushwhackers do the same thing. Being at the Hall of Fame and seeing guys like that go in, it is what it is. I'm really glad that we had a snafu and we only got $40 seats instead of $100 seats, which we would have bought if I would have had my wallet for the pre-sale. That's a mistake that went down in WrestleMania Click history with us, and I'm surprised I haven't got made fun of more for that. The year that Miguel got mixed up on what time the pre-sale started, Miguel and me, I think we'll make fun of him every time we talk to him, even if it doesn't really go along with what we're talking about. From there, we're going to be going to Kaiju. No, I'm mixed up on my days, dude. Kaiju Big Battle is going to be on Friday, seeing the mascots fight. Saturday is going to be after the Hall of Fame, going back to WrestleCon and seeing the WrestleCon wrestling show. Lots of big names are advertised for that, and how they make that show work, I'm not sure, but I remember looking at that show going up against the Hall of Fame last year, really wishing that we could have been there to see the big Colt Cabana versus Jeff Jarrett match. And I talked to Colt Cabana about it the next day at WrestleCon. He said that it was a lot of fun and that I did miss out on a good match, and I just was like, damn, I've always liked Double J. To see him wrestle in that sort of indie atmosphere would be fun. I'm sure that he would play up to the crowd to the nines, much like he did back in the 90s, really healing it up. From there we go to Sunday, which, there's not really big plans. Anything could happen that day because there's really nothing on the books. I know that in Gemini's video he mentioned going out to Candlestick Park and saying goodbye to it. Maybe if we don't fit that in during maybe if we don't fit that in during our trip to San Francisco on Thursday, maybe we head out there and do that again that day, especially when we got more light to take a really good picture. But, like I said, anything could pop up, and any plans could change. So we'll see what fills that gap. From there, we go to WrestleMania. I think we've talked in depth about that over and over again. And then, the big, sad Monday where you finally realize that, this is your last day. You better live it up and do it big. And then you go to Monday Night Raw, and you say your goodbyes. You get all of the cries out, and see what happens from there. I'm sure that we're going to do this again. Me, Miguel, Ravi, and Justin have pretty basically tentative plans for WrestleMania 32 already to basically package up and get a good deal for next year. I'm anxious to see what Dallas will bring us. We'll basically know, three of us know that we're going to be getting the package next year. One of them doesn't know that he's going to be getting the package next year. He's going to be talked into it one way or another. From there, we know that we already have our hotel. We'll more than likely have to plan a hotel to stay in for 2 days before the the package thing kicks on. We're basically gonna have to figure out if we're gonna need a rental car for the week. So we have a little bit of things to plan, but big plans for 31, but it leads to big plans for 32. Make sure we're planning this out before it actually happens. But thanks for everybody hanging out with me on my tailgate today. I had a ton of fun, and we'll see you with the rest of these. Wrestlemania Access is one of the funnest events of the whole WrestleMania weekend. It is one of my favorites. I know that honestly it's 10 times busier than SummerSlam Access always was when we would go to those SummerSlams. You know, it's you know, longer lines, more people, more congested. I remember going to the Saturday afternoon Access last year in New Orleans, and that was the first Access session that I'd ever been in that just sold out. No more people allowed in. That's it. And I got out of line after meeting the legends at the Legends house, and I just walked around, and there was nothing that I could do. I was told that it would be an hour to get into the Undertaker's graveyard. I was told that it was to be an hour and a half wait just to get into the WrestleMania memorabilia. All of the superstars lines, no matter how big or how small of a star those guys were, lines were coming out of the booths, and I knew that there was nothing. I left the session about an hour and a half to 2 hours early just to get in line for the next session because I knew that they were just going to basically kick me out. There was nothing left for me to do. They were going to cut off the lines, and all I could really do was walk around and look at other people, you know, doing things, because there was no line that I would be able to get into. WrestleMania Access on a Thursday, honestly, you know, there's less people, so that draws a lot of people to it. You know, last year the Boston Brothers and Ravi, they went to WrestleMania Access on that day, and they all just met a long list of guys just because Ravi said that mainly Roman Reigns went into one of the booths, and everybody that was there swarmed it, and basically his was the longest line, and everybody else just got knocked out. He said he met Roman Reigns. No, I apologize, I messed that up. While everybody was waiting for Roman Reigns, he met Sin Cara, Biggie Langston, and I can't remember who the third person was, in a matter of like 15 minutes, just because nobody was in the line and he was just able to scoot on through. So that's the experience that I'm really looking forward to at this year's WrestleMania Access. I have two VIP tickets. One I bought for myself was to meet Ric Flair. I know it's the third time that I'm going to meet him. I did have a sort of a plan on why I bought the Ric Flair ticket, was for the reason of if you have a VIP ticket, you get early admission, so you get to sort of pick your first line that you want to get into. Sometimes it's a gamble if you get you know, somebody good, or if you just have to get out of that line and go to some other one. But you know, with the VIP, you're sort of guaranteed to meet somebody in the first, you know, few minutes of access, and then you're supposed to run over and get into another line, is what most people will do, and then you go meet your VIP person that you're guaranteed to meet, because he's going to have a line, and you know that he's going to be signing for 2 hours, so you have 2 hours to make sure that you're in that line, even if you're the last person to meet Flair. My buddy Paul bought one of Ravi's extra Roman Reigns tickets, and with that, he's going to be at the Evolve show, so he asked me to get something signed by Roman, and with that, I get to meet Roman Reigns and get a picture with him, you know, basically for free. So that was a big time plus to meet your WrestleMania main eventer, and you know, be all pumped up for it. When I think about who's going to be at WrestleMania Access this year, I would love to get a picture with a New Day. Last year I was really pumped to meet 3MB and get a picture with them, but meeting Biggie Langston, Xavier Woods, and Roman Reigns all at the same time. I've met them singly, but to meet them as a group and get one picture with them would probably be one of my favorite pictures that I would be able to get that weekend. I would love to meet Curtis Axel, is another guy. I've never met Ryback. So I have a list of guys that I would like to meet, but it's not really all that extravagant about the people that I want to meet. So we'll see what it is. WrestleMania Access is always fun. You know, the lines won't be extravagant because we're going on Thursday, like you'd be able to go on any other day. But once the lists are announced, I'll be able to see. But it's always fun to watch the NXT matches. and to meet the NXT people would probably be one of the biggest things of the weekend. If you think about it, Sami Zayn, then you got Finn Balor. Hopefully Kevin Owens will be part of the weekend in some way, even with his injury that he just had. Tommy is a guy that I think a lot of people would love to meet. I've knocked out a few people, but Alexa Bliss might be at the top of the list to make sure I get a picture with her. I haven't had the chance to meet her yet, so we'll see what goes down. Wrestlemania Access, always a fun time. WrestleCon 2015 is going to be one hell of an adventure. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. I'm really glad that I'm going. We've done the Wrestle Reunions and the WrestleCons in the past. Wrestle Reunion ran WrestleMania 27 weekend in Atlanta. We didn't go to that one. We know a lot of people that went. One of our friends, Nightmare 10, Phil, he's not going to be part of WrestleMania 31's trip, but he ended up getting caned by New Jack. A lot of people went there and met the world's greatest tag team. That they were there, as sort of like the hot free agents. They had just signed with Ring of Honor out of being out of WWE. I know that Kurt Angle was rumored to be there. I don't think he was advertised, but a lot of people said that he'd be stopping by, mostly because of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin said he was going to be there. I can't remember if there was an excuse why he wasn't there or what happened along the way, but he wasn't. I remember that sort of being let down when a lot of our friends came back and said that they, were sold 8x10s, of Team Angle, and only got 2 of the 3 people to sign it because one of them wasn't there. Sort of felt like they got hustled in the long run, but the next year we sort of jumped on board. We headed over to Miami. They ran Wrestle Reunion. We went there 2 days, and I met a lot of people. New Age Outlaws, DDP. Stand out as some of the headliners that I got to meet there. And then after that, shortly after that, the Wrestle Reunion, I guess they closed their doors. They went out of business. They no longer ran shows. After that, WrestleCon stepped up for WrestleMania 29. I don't know if it's the same people who run it or maybe people from that group stood up and took it over, or if somebody just on the outside was looking at what they were doing, thought they could make changes to make sure that the company can make a profit, so they started running under the WrestleCon name. I know that I was very outspoken about how much money it was to cost to go to the ordeal. I bought 3 tickets, one for Friday, one for Saturday, and then one for the Saturday night wrestling show. $31 for each, so $93 altogether to go to the whole convention. I thought that was a little bit pricey. I know that the company is bringing in wrestlers as a part of the super ticket, so they have to pay trans, they have to pay a fee to use them. They have to, do lodging. They have to pay for the building. They have to pay insurance. There's a lot of charges that go on along the way, so I can't blame them for how much it is. It's just, what it is. I'm sure that it's going to be fun because no matter what line you're standing in, you're going to be able to talk to wrestling fans. Everybody who's going to be there is going to be a wrestling fan. I've never been to Comic-Con, but I'm sure this is one of the closest things, even though it's not on the same larger scale that Comic-Con is. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'll just, in the long run, say that wrestling show costs $93 to get into, and not have to worry about the price I paid to get into the convention part. But I know that I'm glad that I'm going because there's a lot of people on this list that I'm going to be meeting at the wrestling show and meeting at the convention that, more than likely I would never get a chance to meet unless it was, through going to WrestleCon. And I know that a lot of people don't really worry about the price for WrestleMania weekend because, they're traveling from all parts of the world and they just want to have fun. It's their vacation, but it is what it is. You got to pay to play, and that's what it is. When I go to WrestleCon, there's a list of people that I want to be meeting. I'm going to be meeting Conan. Conan is a part of the MLW podcast that I've just been starting to listen to. I've been a real big fan of Court Bauer, listening to him on different podcasts. I subscribe to The Law, and every Wednesday they had a dual podcast with The Law and MLW, Bauer and Pollock. It's actually one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to. I subscribe to MLW mostly because of Bauer, and in the Talkin' Shop podcast, which I was really hoping to meet some, a lot of members of the Bullet Club. At one point, AJ Styles was signed up to do WrestleCon this year, and then he had to bail out for a New Japan show, which is understandable. But to meet Gallows, to meet Machine Gun Anderson would be huge. But, from all that, I'm going to be meeting Conan to get a picture with him. He's going to be there on Friday. He looks it looks pretty beat up. You know, if you go to the WrestleCon website and you see who's going to be attending there, the picture that they picked for Conan doesn't look the best, but I'll be glad to meet him. He's a great guy to listen to on the show. He's very entertaining to go along with Court Bauer. Hacksaw Jim Duggan is the guy that went into the Hall of Fame in Atlanta at WrestleMania 27. You know, been one of my favorite wrestlers. He still looks like he did back in the 80s. It'd be great to get a picture with him. He's going to be selling his book, is something that I'm really looking forward to get picked up as well. He's got to have a combo deal and make sure I pick that up. He'll be selling 2x4s if you need one of those t-shirts and everything as well. The Big Nipple Vampire, Shelly Martinez, I'm going to be getting a picture with. She's one of my favorites, going back to the ECW days when she, you know, wrestled as Ariel. I've already got her autograph in my encyclopedia. Just probably love to get another picture with her. I have to ask her, since she's being there on Friday and Saturday, which day she's going to be looking better, to make sure I get a picture from there. The other one, oh man, I met her on Saturday at WrestleCon, and we went back on Sunday, and I was tempted to get another picture as well. But you got the Disco Inferno. Hopefully, I talked to him on Twitter, and I asked him if he was going to be dressing in full gimmick, and he had no idea that many of these guys show up, you know, giving no cares, and lose out on a lot of money. I had to tell him, you know, that I've gone to these conventions a lot. Sometimes you just see guys showing up in Hawaiian shirts and flip-flops, not caring about their appearance or, you know, what people might be thinking of, you know, when they are getting a picture with somebody. But Disco said that he was going to be in full-on WCW gimmick, and that's really what I'm looking forward to get a picture with him. Eric Bischoff is somebody that I thought, honestly, that I would never meet. Always been a real big fan of him. WCW, WWE, you know, I read his book. I listened to his shoot interview. All of them were really fun. His interviews that he did with Stone Cold Steve Austin on the you know, Podcast 1, they were really fun. I'm going to be getting his book signed. Like I said, it's something that I never really thought that I'd be able to do. Eric Bischoff, for the amount of money he has, he's been doing these autograph sessions. He did one in Philadelphia when him and Bruce Pritchard did their RF Video live debate. So I honestly am pretty surprised that Bischoff is doing these, but I'll take advantage. I'm pretty sure that he, you know, likes meeting most of the fans, and I'm sure the money must be nice. Make sure I knock him out. He'll be there Friday and Saturday. Scott Hall is the guy that was supposed to come out to the West Coast for an autograph session after WrestleMania 30 shortly last year. It was shoot, what the heck is that thing called that I go to every year? But it's fun. And Hall was supposed to be there. I think everybody, you know, saw the story that he no-showed the event last year, which was surprising because it was so short after WrestleMania 30, after he got the big ovation for going into the Hall of Fame, and there was a lot of rumors to say why he no-showed the show. But I asked him on Twitter if he would make up for it. I don't want to, you know, cut in line or anything like that, but if he would make up the autograph and a picture, I still have the ticket. So you know, he said he would do it. If he actually does it, is another ordeal, but he'll be there on Saturday. Would love to meet Scott Hall. You know, I'm getting a picture signed of him going into the Hall of Fame, his announcement sort of deal. So we'll have to see what goes from there. But I can see myself, more than likely, if I have to, you know, put down the money. Tatanka, one of my favorite wrestlers from the 90s, really good guy, and I would love to get a picture with him. He's you know, a guy that I've been following for a long time. I can remember the rumors when people said that he was going to go into the NWO when they were just, you know, basically taking any past you know, WWF wrestler. Never really happened, but when he did make that short return to SmackDown around WrestleMania 22, I believe, that was crazy. That was something I thought I would never see. John Morrison is going to be there. He has a lot of success right now going in Lucha Underground. You know, he's a guy that I've always been looking forward to seeing pop up in WWE sometime, but he likes making movies. He likes not having to wrestle all the time, so love to catch up with him on Friday or Saturday, get a picture and autograph with him. Hillbilly Jim, big star from back in the day. Of course, everybody remembers the WrestleMania 3 midget match. Everybody remembers him on Legends House. It would be nice to finally get a picture and meet that guy. Kelly is going to be there on Friday and Saturday. She's going to be a part of that RF video table with Eric Bischoff, Bruce Pritchard. The Dudleys are going to be there. Justin Gabriel. Drew McIntyre. I might be missing somewhere along the way, but everybody's going to be 2020 to meet or autograph at their table. They got a really nice table with a whole bunch of good guests that they're going to be bringing in. So making sure you check out the RF video table is going to be pretty cool, as well as the High Spots table. You know, basically High Spots puts on a big sale while they're there. They have a full-on spread of almost every DVD that they offer. All the big sellers are going to be there. They got masks, they got t-shirts, they got 8x10s, anything for any wrestling fan. I'm not saying that you pay your $31 entrance fee just to go check out the High Spot store that's going to be there, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of deal that they got going on there. Plus, they're going to be bringing Excalibur in, who's going to be running a table for PWG. Picking up some PWG DVDs while you're there must be a plus. Kelly's going to be there. I've never had a chance to meet her. She was always one of my favorites. I always sort of, giggle every time there's a rumor about her coming back. Love to see what goes down with that. Bret Hart, I've already had a chance to meet this guy once. Why, when I met him, I didn't get his book signed? I have no idea, but I'll make sure I knock that out, getting Bret to sign his book. And then last but not least, on Saturday, they're going to have none other than the Hall of Famer headliner himself, Kevin Nash. Never had a chance to meet Nash. I remember I made a mistake and I went to one line when I should have went to another at one of those WrestleMania 27 access sessions. And I think it was Miguel and Luke got to meet Kevin Nash, and damn, that was a line I should have been in, because just to meet him would be awesome. He's always been one of the guys from wrestling that just made wrestling really cool. And you think about those NWO days, you think about him being Diesel back in the day. Would love to meet that guy. But the WrestleCon wrestling show that night, it's going to be headlined by the Hardys against Sabu and Rob Van Dam. Both of those teams are people that I never thought I would see ever wrestle again. As far as I can remember, I don't think I've ever seen Sabu wrestle. Of course, I've seen the Hardys, and of course, I've seen Rob Van Dam with their WWF stuff and TNA as well. But anytime you get to see the Hardys wrestle, it's going to take you back in the day. I think that's one of the reasons why TNA Impact Wrestling is having a lot of success. If you think about before they switched, they were doing that, all the tag team wrestling with the Dudleys, the Hardys, and the Wolves. You can never go wrong when you have those guys all paired up. But it's going to be fun. You got 5-on-5 Survivor Series style match with Chris Hero going up against Colt Cabana. I believe it's ARH is going to have a match. No, ACH. Yeah, the dude that wrestles for PWG and Ring of Honor. He's going to have a match against John Morrison, like I said, with him and WWE. I never thought that he was going to be gone that long when he left. I was a fan of his wrestling stuff, no matter if it was in singles or in tags. He was always doing things I never thought was possible from any wrestler. So to see Morrison wrestle again, it's going to be really fun. And then you, of course, got Jushin Thunder Liger. He's going to be wrestling for Ring of Honor that weekend, but he's also going to be wrestling at this WrestleCon show. And at the WrestleCon show, he's going to be wrestling in a 6-man tag. So that's a really cool deal. I think that's worth leaving the Hall of Fame early to make sure we get to this show. Plus, Conan's going to be bringing some guys from Lucha Underground. I know that one guy is Jack Evans. I can't remember. One guy, I think both guys wrestle under a mask. So I've never seen these guys before, but they're supposed to make sure that to watch Lucha Underground. They're going to put them on this match in a 3-way. So I want to make sure I don't miss any of that. So that's going to be WrestleCon. That's going to be what I'm doing. Make sure you guys are looking for me, because it's going to be fun. Ring of Honor during WrestleMania weekend, honestly, always has been a big deal to us. I remember going to the Ring of Honor shows in Atlanta. They were the first Ring of Honor shows that I've ever gone to. I remember watching Ring of Honor videos on YouTube for the longest time, seeing my friends Ravi, Miguel, even Instant Classic 8, talking about how good Ring of Honor was, and not really understanding why you would want to buy a DVD to follow a wrestling company when you could watch WWE or TNA on cable television and not have to pay for a DVD, pay for shipping, and want to follow a product that way. And then once I got there, I realized how much Ring of Honor was 2 steps ahead of WWE when it came to in-ring wrestling. Every match that were on those shows in Atlanta were better than almost any match that happened at WrestleMania. They might not have had the John Cenas or the Triple H's or the Undertakers. They might not have had those big names. They might have been headlined by guys that were only in the main event of WWE once they were there, like Shelton Benjamin, guys like Charlie Haas, the world's greatest tag team, who headlined that show going up against the Kings of Wrestling. But they really turned me on to the product. And I know that I really only watch a lot of Ring of Honor. When I go to these shows, I don't follow the product other than, listening to the reviews on Ryan and Vinny when they talk about them, I believe, during the Sunday night shows. But it sort of keeps me up to date. Every once in a while, things pop up into the news along the way. Somebody's best of DVD comes out. I go out of my way to check it out. But I don't really find my ways watching the product unless it's the pay-per-views, like the 13th anniversary show, which was a little bit above average, but really didn't really knock it out of the park. I believe that ran a few weeks ago, and I saw that the Bullet Club had won all the championships in New Japan. I really thought that was a guarantee that this Wrestlemania show in Redwood City would be a show that all of the New Japan Bullet Club would be a part of, but instead they wrestled on the 13th anniversary show, which was held in Las Vegas. They're going to be in Japan wrestling during WrestleMania weekend, which is a huge, big-time drag. I thought with Invasion Attack being I believe the next weekend after WrestleMania, that all the New Japan talent would be here. AJ Styles, the Young Bucks, and they'd be a part of the ROH show. But instead, they're going to be on the road. It's big time news with Samoa Joe leaving TNA. He was able to sign with sign with ROH to wrestle a few shows. It's heavily rumored that he's not going to be here that long. That the ROH show before WrestleMania, he's going to be doing the show. It's going to be his last show that he's contracted to do with ROH, and then he's going to sign either with WWE or NXT, and that's going to be some of the biggest news to come out of WrestleMania weekend, that Joe's there. How much in the tank Samoa Joe has to deliver, I'm not really sure, but he's a guy that really could wrestle. He shows a lot of heart when he's in the ring. Honestly, he's one of those guys that gives whatever he's given inside of the ring. I mean, if he's told to go out there and have a 5-minute TV match, he's going to go out there and give a 5-minute TV match. But if he's put into a main event and it's something that really does deliver, he stands up to the plate and he gives twice as much to the guys that he's inside of the ring with. You think about the Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle matches. I know that we haven't seen one of those Dynamite matches in a few years, but I'm sure if TNA would have delivered and given us one of those matches as a main event on a pay-per-view, Samoa Joe would have stepped up to the plate. He would have known what he had to do to get that match over, and he would have delivered. Samoa Joe's going to be wrestling in the main event, going up against Jay Briscoe. Jay Briscoe is the champion of ROH. A little bit surprising. He did keep the championship at the 4-way at the 13th anniversary show. He did basically get beat by everyone that was inside of that match, which is setting up him versus a lot of those guys in singles matches along the way. But to cap off WrestleMania weekend, Super Card of Honor, he's going to be going up against Samoa Joe, probably the biggest name that's gone through there. He was a big time champion that really put them on the map at a time when people were really starting to recognize Ring of Honor. They had CM Punk, they had Bryan Danielson, but Joe went on an historic run for Ring of Honor, just basically beating everybody in his path. And they have a whole DVD that you should really go out of his way, having matches against Kobayashi and other big-time talents that were in Ring of Honor as well. But it's going to be a good match. I know that last year was a selling point for us to go to the Ring of Honor show, mostly because of the ladder wars that went down with Adam Cole. Adam Cole has an injury. Doesn't look like he's going to be a part of this year's show. It's a big-time drag. He was a good-time champion for Ring of Honor. He always wrestled in good matches, and it's sad to see that I'm not going to be able to see him wrestle this year. Also on the show is going to be Jushin Thunder Liger. He's going to be coming over from Japan, wrestling a match for the television championship against Jay Lethal. That should be nothing more than dynamite. Jay Lethal is a guy that has always wrestled big-time matches. I know that people still look at him as Black Machismo, the Macho Man ripoff from TNA, Impact Wrestling. But he's held that championship for almost a year now, since joining Truth Martini and turning heel at last year's Super Card of Honor. I can't remember who he had that match with, but he was able to turn, and that was set up a long time in the run. I remember going to the show and wearing a Jay Lethal shirt, and somebody telling me that it was going to happen, and just looking at him like, everybody loves Jay Lethal. He can't turn heel, and then it happened. I think it was Big Rat who actually told me that. Then you got Bad Influence. They're going to be wrestling in singles matches. It's going to be Christopher Daniels going up against, isn't it? He's going up against, shoot. I can't remember who he's going up against, but I promise you that it's going to be a good match. Samoa Joe is probably going to be the biggest name that's on this card. So many people are pumped to see this guy wrestle. I know that my buddy Mike, HBK fan 25, he got to see him wrestle at the Chicago show, and he got a huge ovation, tons and tons of streamers, and especially with this being the last ROH show before he goes out, it's going to be really good. Maybe Samoa Joe and Ring of Honor have something worked out, or they knew that the rumor has been out. Maybe they're going to play off the fact that he's not going to be able to wrestle for Ring of Honor anymore. What if they just have Joe win the championship and just go on some historic sort of CM Punk run, like the Summer of Punk, where he was going to leave. Everybody knew that he was signing with WWE, and that everybody thought that every show was going to be his last show before he finally ended up losing the championship and leaving. What if Samoa Joe wins the championship and just starts wrestling all these ROH matches and these dream matches, and everybody thinks, oh, this is the one he's gonna lose it. Oh, this is the one he's gonna lose it. Almost bringing a lot of attention to Ring of Honor. It also sort of be a smart thing if they have any shows planned up quickly after the Supercard of Honor show here. But it's going to be a lot of fun going to the show. Ring of Honor always delivers. They always have great matches. I got third row seats, so I'm pumped about that. And Daniels is wrestling against Roderick Strong. That's who he's wrestling against. That should be a really, really good match. Roderick Strong, of course, the PWG champion right now. I know Frankie Kazarian is on there, but I can't remember who he's wrestling against either. But it's going to be fun. ROH, always a good time. Wish we could go to the NXT show, but they put that show there for a reason. It sort of made ROH the ticket that everybody wanted, not the ticket that everybody wanted to get rid of. But I'm glad we're going to Redwood City. It's going to be a ton of fun, the drive there, the drive back, and of course, Kaiju Big Battle afterwards. Kaiju Big Battle has always been number one on my list of something that I wanted to do WrestleMania weekend. People have always been asking me this year for the past few weeks, are you going to the ROH and to the NXT show? I don't know if they were knowing that I was going to be driving and they needed a ride, or if people just cared what I was doing, but the plan has always been to go to ROH, followed up by ROH heading over and seeing Kaiju Big Battle. Kaiju Big Battle, I found out about it from a Well You're Wrong. I can't remember if it was an Instagram picture or a Twitter picture that he took during WrestleMania 29 weekend, but it was just two mascots inside of a ring, and I said, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to see it next year, even if I have to go to it alone. Then WrestleMania 30 came along. We went to the Ring of Honor show, which was honestly probably 25 minutes away from where we stayed. It was out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if that was a college arena or if it was a minor league arena for some sort of a hockey or some sort of a basketball team, but it was a small place out in the middle of nowhere. Probably Ring of Honor got it on a discount. Probably they don't do a lot of shows like that. And it was hard for us to get a cab because we were out in the middle of nowhere. I had called for a cab, and once they got there, the guy called me and had told me that he had picked somebody else up, and I was out of luck because I didn't get into the cab. And I was pissed. I was calling to get another cab, and they kept on saying it was going to be a while, and cabs were pulling up, but people were getting in them before us, and cabbies were pulling up, offering to take us for $20 a person. It was a $100 cab ride to get on a cab ride that honestly cost us $20 to get to, where we were, and we split it up between the 6 people that were inside of the cab. So, yeah, that was an historic ripoff to get $100 in order to get down the road and see Kaiju Big Battle. But even though we ended up not being able to make it because we weren't able to get a cab in time and we had to go back home, Justin and Ravi went to the show because they were going to meet us there after going to WrestleMania Access. And they had the time of their lives. They were able to get front row seats from the PBI guys, or was it PWI guys? and they were able to get them front row. They were saving seats for all of us, but like I said, me and Miguel, we weren't able to make it, and I was pissed. I remember them coming home and them, coming through the door, and I greeted them at the door right away, asking them, how it was, and tell me everything about it. And they tried to play it off like it was horrible, like it wasn't that good, because they knew how much I was really had my eyes set on really getting into the show. But they couldn't contain it. They were telling me how awesome it was, getting to see the waffle, getting to see Dr. Cube, the can of soup was out there fighting, and that's the stuff that I'm really looking forward to. I don't know if anybody doesn't know what Kaiju Big Battle is, but the only thing I can think of is, think of your college mascots. They show on ESPN all the time, or your minor league mascots, or anything that's out there. Think of them getting in the ring, but just wrestling and acting like they're John Cena and CM Punk, and just trying to have an honest to goodness real wrestling match, even though they're mascots. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I'm really dead set on getting there. I got to get a picture with the waffle, no matter how much that picture costs. It's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime deal, and there's going to be no messed up cab rides this year. We're going to get in the cab, we're going to get in the car immediately after Ring of Honor. We're going to jet on down the way, get to, I believe it's at the San Jose Fairgrounds to see the Kaiju Big Battle, but that is a big-time deal. I'm glad that I'm going, and I'm hoping you guys are going to be there too, because I'm pumped about this. This is going to be a ton of fun. Got to see that waffle, boys. WrestleMania's Hall of Fame, has always been one of the highlights of WrestleMania weekend. And I can remember going in the past and seeing Shawn Michaels put in during WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta. Edge got put in WrestleMania 28 in Miami, and being really surprised that these guys were, I guess you can sort of say, first ballot Hall of Famers, being elected the year after their retirements, them being big members of the WWE's history, and being true main eventers. That they would be able to go in. So many times you see names pop up and they have to wait, year after year, and you're wondering, why these people aren't being put in. WrestleMania 30, we finally saw the Ultimate Warrior go in, and honestly, when it comes down to it, what a perfect timing it was. I don't think anybody was happy with the loss of Ultimate Warrior. I believe on Tuesday after WrestleMania weekend, everybody's just getting home. They're hearing the words that Ultimate Warrior collapsed outside of a hotel, I believe on the way to get his car, and they weren't able to revive him, and he left behind his wife and two daughters. What a shocking thing that was to come home to. It was a big part of the weekend of seeing him, put in to the Hall of Fame on Saturday, on Sunday, him coming out there during WrestleMania. And then I remember the rumors on Monday that Warrior was actually going to come out to the ring and deliver a promo on Monday Night Raw, thinking how shocked I was. I heard the rumors and told people I didn't believe it. I was like, what is he really going to do when he comes out there? But they did let him come down there. He was wearing the jacket. He put on the Warrior face that they were selling at the merch stand, that sort of mask that they were selling, and just really couldn't believe it. What a perfect thing was to see. For so long we've been waiting for Randy Savage to go in. He is the true headliner of this year's class. I don't think he will be closing out the show because he won't be able to attend due to his untimely death a few years ago. That really shocked me, and it really rocked me more than I thought it would. I remember just sort of seeing it posted on Twitter, and I don't want to say that I was the first person to see it, but reacting to it really before there was any other reactions. I didn't know. I made a video saying what Randy Savage meant to me, and as I was talking, really not believing how much Randy really meant. He really did support the WWF at a time when Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon were thinking about making money other than wrestling. He held the company down while Vince and Hulk went and made No Holds Barred with Zeus, taking a lot of time off. He was the guy that main evented house shows. with him against Randy Savage. Business never really saw a loss. The Hogan and Macho Man Mega Power storyline with him and Elizabeth, when you watched it, you really felt bad for Hogan. When you watch it today, you're like, man, Hogan was really a dick moving in on Elizabeth like that. And Elizabeth being the prize of, WrestleMania 5, being in neutral corners, then going in and celebrating with Hogan. It really made it look like Hogan stole his buddy's girlfriend. It goes into the list of things of, why was Hulk Hogan not a heel? I mean, Hulk Hogan beat up Sensational Sherry, stole Miss Elizabeth, did countless other things, cheated behind the referee's back, and got away with it so many times. It's just a mystery. Hulk Hogan putting in Macho Man Randy Savage probably is one of the best names they could be putting him in there. I've thought that Diamond Dallas Page is the guy that could do it. If you've ever heard a podcast with DDP and they've mentioned Macho Man Randy Savage, he has some of the best things to say about him. Diamond Dallas Page really credits Macho Man with giving him his whole career, basically saying if it wasn't for that match at Spring Stampede where Savage told Arn Anderson, I'm going to put DDP over tonight. WCW was really ran by the wrestlers. If Savage didn't want to put over DDP, he wasn't going to. And DDP would have been a big part of the NWO versus WCW feud, but he just would have been a speed bump somewhere along the way and wouldn't have really mattered not being able to beat Savage that night. That was really a wake-up call to WCW that these guys were worth something, and they could, fight the good fight against the NWO, that they weren't just laying down, letting them take over and move on from there. Kevin Nash is your headliner this year, probably closing the show with Shawn Michaels putting him in there. Kevin Nash was a really big part of wrestling for so many years, and he'll be a good member of the Hall of Fame. Nothing really big you can say there. I mean, the Hall of Fame, for the NWO, maybe somewhere along the way, they really shot a lot of guys out there. I don't know if they really knew that Hall of Fame was really going to last for so many WrestleManias, but you can look back at all the mistakes that they made. The WrestleMania 20 Madison Square Garden Hall of Fame, and they put in like 15 guys. It seems like WrestleMania 21 putting in Hulk Hogan, putting in Roddy Piper in the same ticket, two main eventers at the same time. From there on, they've been sort of sparing. WrestleMania 26, they really were betting that the Ultimate Warrior would go into the Hall of Fame that year, and it ended up being that he didn't want to do it, so Ted DiBiase had to headline. Even when you look at WrestleMania 30, it looked like the most perfect class that they've ever done, with so many names in there. Jake Roberts and Scott Hall, like the guy that DDP put so much work into to get both of these guys in there. So many people thought they would be dead before they ever got put into the Hall of Fame, and they were able to get clean, they were able to get sober. Most importantly, they were able to get healthy, and they were able to get put in. They put them in the same year. Maybe they could have, spread them out a little bit. But, if you're filling out the rest of the class, you've got the Japanese guy that wrestled Ric Flair. You've got Larry Zbyszko. You got the Bushwhackers. Who is the celebrity person going in this year? Arnold Schwarzenegger, probably just because he was the most famous guy that said he would show up. But the Hall of Fame this year, I'm glad that we got cheap tickets, only $40. We were going to buy $100 tickets, but then I lost my wallet. At the moment I was going to press the ticket, I couldn't guess the 3-digit number on the back of my credit card, so the sale wouldn't go through, and we panicked a little bit, and at the last minute, Ravi stood up and he bought the tickets. And we weren't able to find $100 ones, and I'm glad, because honestly, I don't know what else we would do if it wasn't for the Hall of Fame. But definitely it is a very skippable event this year. I know that it won't be shown on the WWE Network. It looks like it's to be shown on USA. How long it is before the WWE Network gets to show this, I'm not sure. Maybe it'll be put up into the on-demand section that night. Maybe they'll wait a week. Maybe they'll wait a month. Maybe you'll have to wait for the DVD to come out. But one way or another, this event's going to be able to be seen. And I don't really feel like any of the moments that are going to go down at the Hall of Fame are going to be one this year that I'm glad I was there. Like I said, Macho Man going into the Hall of Fame is a great moment. Should have happened a long time ago. Hulk Hogan and inducting him, I'm sure we'll be fine. Lanny Poffo said a whole bunch of great things in the Macho Man documentary that came out earlier this year. And I'm sure that he'll have a speech ready that'll knock it out of the park. If you ever heard his poetry, if you ever heard him on any of his podcasts, public speaking and talking about his brother and his family, his father as well, it won't be hard. they'll be able to knock that out of the park, no doubt. But the rest of the class, just iffy. We'll see what goes down from here. Lots of people out there complain about this year's upcoming WrestleMania 31. I know a lot of my friends, honestly, didn't think that this year's WrestleMania was going to be worth the money. Some people said that their plane ticket was going to cost too much. Some people said that just it cost too much money to come to California. Some people said that they bailed out because they didn't like the direction that WWE was going. They didn't want to have to see, Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar. It wasn't the guy that they thought was going to be going down to it. Even I was a little bit of a negative Nancy along the way for WrestleMania 31. I just didn't think that it was panning out exactly the way that I thought it was going to pan out. But honestly, at the end of the day, when I look at the card, this is the card that I'm glad that I'm going to. I know that when me and my friends talk about going to WrestleMania for the weekend, a lot of the talk is about all of the other events that we're going to be doing, whether if it's who we're going to meet at WrestleCon, what we're going to do on Monday, what we're going to do on Sunday, when we're trying to fill out the week, and what we're going to do during the dead spots along the way. Very rarely do we talk about the matches that are going to be going down, but more than likely you've got what, honestly, every time Undertaker goes out there, you got to be thinking that this could be Undertaker's last match. I think everybody would love to see Undertaker either, wrestle a match at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas, or use that as a stopping ground to put him into the Hall of Fame in his hometown, one way or another. One of those things are going down, and WrestleMania 31 will be one of his last matches, if not his last. Hopefully, he can go out there and end that career with a better match than what the Brock Lesnar match was at WrestleMania 30. I think everybody will remember, where they were and what they thought, went down with, with Brock beating Taker. I was truly, really, really shocked that they would do that. I never really thought Undertaker would ever lose at WrestleMania. I thought that streak was going to live forever and ever. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, there's lots of talks. Every day you get on Twitter, every day you go online and you look to see what the talk is about WrestleMania 31. You see that it could go either way. I mean, there's lots of talks about Brock Lesnar staying with WWE and keeping the championship on him and really building up something for the future. There's talks of Roman Reigns, which seems to be the plan all along the way, winning the championship and becoming the new face of the company, phasing out John Cena, phasing out Daniel Bryan, and basically putting them on a new track with their Bray Wyatts, their Dean Ambroses, their Seth Rollinses, all those guys becoming, the new main eventers, and, pushing them into a next generation of new stars. It's a lot like when Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, pushed out, the Ultimate Warriors, your Hulk Hogan's and your Macho Man Randy Savage's, Ric Flair's, becoming the new main eventers of the company and putting them into a new stratosphere. Triple H and Sting has been the match that's honestly my big one. I've always really thought that was going to be a big match, and seeing Sting inside of a WWE ring for the first time wrestling a match. He hasn't wrestled in over a year. I believe his last match was that match he wrestled in front of 300 people in that high school gym for TNA, which is sort of sad. Maybe he did an independent show somewhere along the way that I didn't know about. Besides for that, he's just been doing autograph signings, and he showed up at a few Monday Night Raws and the Survivor Series along the way, hyping up this match. We still really haven't got an answer of why he wants to take out Triple H, but I don't think people really care. I think they really want to just see the match and see what goes down. The ladder match is going to be fun. Those guys are going to be going out there, all of them trying to make a name for themselves, trying not to get killed, but more than likely with these ladder matches, you always see some sort of injury along the way. I know that it's going to be a spot fest with RKOs at the end of SmackDown, really helping hype everybody up for Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. Maybe they killed it a little bit with Randy Orton hitting the RKO on Seth Rollins already on Monday Night Raw, putting him through the table. But, I want to see another one. I think that Seth's going to get the win. He still has that Money in the Bank briefcase that he has to find a way to get rid of. before June. You know, that he's more than likely going to be in that title picture with Roman Reigns, because I don't think Brock Lesnar is going to be a part of Extreme Rules. Who becomes the new #1 contender after that, I'm not sure. Whether if Daniel Bryan finds his way to the Intercontinental Championship match and promotes himself up to there. But, you know, that's one of the fun things about WrestleMania. Some people say that this is a WrestleMania that's supposed to put over WrestleMania 32, but when I look at it, man, it looks like a real fun time to me. I'm excited. I want to see what they do, and I want to knock this out of the park this year. It's going to be real fun. One of the hottest tickets of the whole weekend always is the Raw after WrestleMania. You know, it's the show that everybody wants to go to, and then once you get there, it's sort of like you're sad because you don't want to be there anymore, because it's the last wrestling event. If you're like Ravi, you're going to be basically staying up mostly all of the night to get to the airport, to fly out first thing in the morning to head back home. You're going to try and make sure you get the most out of it. You know, when I think about my group of friends, I'm sure there's a lot of friends that are they're going to the trip just like we are. I live in Northern California. Miguel lives in Southern California. Ravi lives in Toronto, Canada. I get to see Ravi on average about once a year. I get to see Miguel on average twice a year, even though we're really great friends. I mean, if it's not for SummerSlam and it's not for WrestleMania, we don't get to see each other. With no SummerSlam in Los Angeles this year, I'm more than likely not going to see Miguel this summer unless we're able to put together some sort of a PWG trip, which I've been dying to do, honestly, for a long time. Maybe I'll be able to talk him into going to WWE's Hell in a Cell in October. Maybe something like that, but that's, you know, something that's going to be on my mind when I'm going to these shows is when is the next time I'm going to see these guys? I know we have plans for WrestleMania 32. But you know, what if something comes up? I mean, what if these guys get married? What if they you know, buy a house? What if anything happens and next year, you know, there's no money on the table to go? So I mean, like these trips have been fun. You know, someday they're going to end, but I hope they aren't anytime soon. But that's sort of me letting my feelings out about the whole things. Like, geez, I feel like a girl right now. But but these guys have been through the thick and thin with me. They're two of my best friends in the entire world. I'm glad to have them. I got a lot more guys that are on this trip that I'll be glad to see as well. But these are the guys that I've roomed with every year. And without them, there is no me. I wouldn't be able to go on these trips alone. So I tip my hat to them and I say thank you big time. The Raw after WrestleMania is going to have a lot of big surprises to it. More than likely, we're going to see the crowning of a new champion at the end of WrestleMania 31. So Roman Reigns showing up and sort of being christened the champion. There's so many times as a fan when I was growing up, you make sure that you watch the Raw after WrestleMania. It's so important to check out that first segment because maybe you didn't have the money to buy the pay-per-view, and of course this was in the days before there was online. There was no, no DQ. There was no wrestling headlines. There was no, well, there was a Wrestling Observer, but I didn't have it, so I didn't know about it. But there was no way to know who the champion was unless you watched Raw. And most of the time, either the guy who lost the belt would come out during the first segment and challenge the guy to a rematch, or they would have the new champion like John Cena come running down to the ring. And he was so eager to show off his new belt and tell everybody that he's the champ is here, and what we're going to see. But, you know, Roman Reigns coming out there, so many people were so outspoken about Roman winning the Royal Rumble and headlining WrestleMania this year. The past, 2 years, he's been in 6-man tags, and even though, the Shield was a big deal to be the past 2 years, they were 6-man tags. they really weren't a big part of the show. WrestleMania 30, Roman and the Shield, they wrestled in a match that honestly lasted about 90 seconds. The one at WrestleMania 29 had a little bit more importance to it, but most people remember that it was one of the matches that Big Show turned heel in after he promised his team that he wouldn't turn on him to accept him because he wanted to beat up the Shield as much as everybody else did. Even though Sheamus and Orton were good guys, Big Show was a bad guy. They needed a guy, and he was about the only guy that wanted to team with them at the show. But Roman showing up is probably going to have a whole lot of bad feelings. A lot of people counted out on going to WrestleMania 31 because of Roman Reigns, and the people that are still coming either already had their money on the table because they bought a WrestleMania package, or they come to WrestleMania every year. They're going to be outspoken, and they're going to let people know that they were unhappy. I don't know how you can go to WrestleMania weekend and be unhappy, but they're going to try and let people know that Roman isn't the guy to build around. Maybe a lot of people will be hoping for a Seth Rollins cash-in that night. I know that there's a rumored Brock Lesnar appearance on the books that he's supposed to be there, but with him losing the championship and not being under contract anymore, I don't know what you do unless it's just to try and have him put over Seth Rollins. And is Brock going to want to put somebody over on his last night in the company when he's not coming back? Does he care that much about his image, or is he just going to want to get that payday for that last day? But when it comes down to it, honestly, in my mind, look out for a story on Brock Lesnar not being at Monday Night Raw. That's my guess. Brock no-shows Raw. He'll do the job at WrestleMania 31, but maybe he'll just walk out and tell Vince he'll see him next time. And I don't think Vince will sue him over one day, because when it comes down to it, what's that last appearance going to be? Vince can just save some money. Brock can fly home early, and more than likely Roman's already going to be put over, so what's going to happen at the end of the day? But anything can happen. Lots of rumors about Brock Lesnar re-signing. When you think about these WrestleMania Monday Night Raws, you always think of debuts. Of course, Brock Lesnar debuted on a Raw after WrestleMania 18, which set him up to headline WrestleMania 19 to a lot of people's surprise. But I think a lot of people knew when they saw Brock Lesnar right off the bat, even though he came in beating up guys like the Hardys, that he was something special. He was twice as big and twice as wide as about anybody he got into the ring with. So maybe one of these NXT guys will be getting up in there. Lots of people looking for Sami Zayn to debut on the WWE roster for the last two years. I think Finn Balor is the guy that's ready to go right now, and there's a lot of other guys down there in NXT that are ready to go. Just it's a matter of Vince McMahon knowing that these guys are good and getting them on the main roster, and knowing that there's a spot for them in the long run. There's always talks of returns. Last year we saw Rob Van Dam make his return. I think Bad News Barrett made his return from injury on that show, wrestling against Rey Mysterio, which ended up being his last match in WWE. So you got to be looking at his NXT. There's so many girls down there. Charlotte, Sasha Banks, or any of these girls going to be making their debut, coming up and helping out the Divas division, which has a lot of girls in it, but none of them can really wrestle all that well, even though they just give Divas a chance. They got a large roster. They've got so many girls down there in NXT that can work well. Do they want to leave them down there and sort of build up that NXT brand as being better than Raw? I think that's going to be a little bit embarrassing for WWE. Like when the Paul Heyman documentary, when they were talking about SmackDown beating Raw in the ratings, and Heyman was sort of being looked at badly because his brand was winning. It doesn't really make sense in the long run, but Raw is definitely going to be a great experience. I'm glad that I'm going. Not really sure. There haven't been really any big rumors about the show or not, but one thing I know is it's going to be fun. You never go wrong with that Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania.